This is my digital profile of two of my English teachers, 7th and 8th grade, and I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you where they teach at.
My name is Julie Bollinger, and I teach 8th grade English at Northstar Middle School in Eau Claire.
And I'm Paula Tracy, and I teach 7th grade English, also at Northstar in Eau Claire.
Where did you guys earn your college degree at?
I earned mine at UW Eau Claire.
And I went to Augustana College in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
To talk about writing, teaching writing as opposed to reading, do you guys allow free or work time for your students to just write papers or write assignments in class?
Yes, I think if you want kids to develop good writing habits, you have to give them time to write, and they have to know that it's important to you that they write, and the best way for them to find out that something's important is knowing that you honor that time that you can give them for it.
If you're going to grade them on something, I believe you need to give them the time to do it.
I agree.
And unfortunately, with middle schoolers, the responsibility isn't all quite there yet at this age. And I think we both found if you just hand out something and say it's due in a week, most of them won't come back. And then you can be there helping them through the process if you give that class time as well.
Okay, and then going off of that one, do you believe that after you grade their papers that a redo or corrections is an option?
Yes, because I think if you really want kids to grasp how to write well, they have to be able to get practice doing it. And I think that once they write something, they get very afraid that it's not good enough. And part of allowing them to write in class lets them see that other kids struggle or have questions too. And then when they get it back, a lot of kids will look at it and say, oh, I didn't do very well, if they don't get that chance to go back and fix it. I've noticed since we let kids go back and do corrections with writing, I have many more kids go back and do corrections on writing, because once they fix it, they feel better about their writing. They're just more willing to try it the next time.
Mm-hmm. And they learn more that way. When you give them that chance to fix it, then it's not such a punishment like you didn't do well, now you have this grade. It's, oh, now I understand it better because I had a chance to rewrite those similes. So, oh, I actually get what a simile is now instead of just guessing. So I think that's important, just to value the learning over the, you did it right the first time. And in the real world, there are editors in writing. There's editors, and they redo it, and they get it checked, and they redo it until they get it right. So.
And there's something to be said, too, for writing being a process. There's no way we could have everything we have them write be brought up to final draft copy. You just can't. They just have to understand that the writing purpose changes. Or sometimes when you say, I'm not going to grade this, but I want to read it, sometimes you'll get your best writing from kids who finally just are like,
Do you guys feel that a rubric is necessary?
Depending on the writing piece, if it's something that you're going to assess and it's something that you want them to bring up, especially to a higher quality, absolutely they need to have a rubric. They need to see ahead of time what's expected. And then you need to make sure that rubric, that's a tool for the teacher to organize. If I'm going to put it on a rubric, I better be darn sure that I know that my kids know how to do it.
Yeah, a rubric is, I just think when we were in middle school or junior high, and you get a paperback with a B+ on it, or, well, what did I do well? What did I do wrong? The rubric pinpoints exactly what you've been trying to teach them and exactly what you hoped that they would learn.
Me being an English major, I was much stronger in English and writing and reading throughout my years as opposed to people who are smarter at math and science. Do you feel that those rubrics hinder their learning or put them at a disadvantage?
I think anytime you know what's expected of you, it is a good thing. Because if you could give me a math rubric and say, can I do this, 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 and this, I would look at that math rubric and go, I can't, but I know I need to, so now let me go figure out how I need to do that. And I think it just gives kids a tool to say, this is where I have to, this is where I really have to take it.
And you give the rubric ahead of time, so
Yeah.
they know what's expected, they know what's going to be graded on. It gives them a roadmap, it gives them a checklist. I say, this is the answer key to getting an A+ on this. You want to be in this column and you want to have everything it says, so it just helps them succeed. I think.
And then individually, would you, do you change your grading style individually, knowing that I was a stronger writer?
I think the rubric says this is what you need to do to get an A, or this is what you need to do to get a B, or this is what you need to do to get a C. So even if you could get an A in that rubric every time, you'd still get your A as a strong English student, but would I be encouraging you along the way or say, hey, what about trying something like this once? I would still be cheerleading for you to try to strengthen and to add more, but if you met everything on that criteria for the A, then you should get the A. Just like a kid who is weaker in English, if they could meet everything on that criteria, or if they couldn't, I mean, you grade them accordingly. I think it takes I think the rubric levels the playing field, because I get a lot of learning disability students, and writing is very difficult for most of them that I get. And the bottom line is, if they can meet the skill on the rubric, and they've earned those points, they at least have the same opportunity to get the same A that you, the stronger student, did, because with the ability to be able to go back and do corrections and retakes and support from the teacher and support from the learning disabilities teacher, I don't think we would ever in middle school have a rubric that would be unattainable for any student.
I know in the past, on some
Are there certain grammar rules or units that each grade level focuses
yeah,
on?
we'll put together what's called a curriculum on the wall sometimes, like, what are you guys doing in 6th? What are we doing in 7th and 8th? So make sure we're covering, and or they'll go through the Explore test item by item, and this item was missed consistently across the district. What is it we need to be teaching better with the comma rules or comma splices?
All right, do you guys focus more on the reading or writing aspect, more dominant in your classroom?
I think the reading is more dominant because it leads to more diverse activities. The writing is definitely important, but when you have a kid read, you can move into a writing piece, or often we do much more of writing while we're reading, you know?
Yeah, respond to this book, or
notice.
Yeah.
Think of a time that this could have happened to you. We do more close reading strategies with them. But the other thing too is, every time you read something, you're not going to have them write. I mean, my kids just for a book project did a book trailer, and it was just something totally different. They had to use some writing skill in it, but I don't know. I think sometimes you just have to give them options of how they want to demonstrate their learning. It won't always be in writing for all of them.
Which books do you enjoy teaching the most?
I love teaching The Outsiders, and I love teaching Christmas Carol, because I know that that's going to be a challenge for them, and I know that not every kid is going to love that story, but it's really fun at the end to say, what do you think? And they're like, we liked it.
And so the books that you have, are they typically from the White Dead Guy canon?
maybe we should showcase the authors a little more, like when we
Perhaps.
do, the Dickens or the Freak the Mighty. I mean, those are white guys, but yeah, I think that's a good point. Is just think more about, well, what if for one of my read alouds, if I specifically choose a Hispanic author or an African American, or there's characters of richer, not richer cultures, but enrich the kids by exposing them to more. And I think because we're white, when we read a book, we picture the characters as white, probably. But maybe when kids of color read a book, they picture the characters of their race. I don't know. I mean, sometimes you can tell because of a certain dialect or something, or where they live, or it's obvious.
Is there anything in your experience as a 7th and 8th grade English teacher that you absolutely must do?
I think you must tell them how happy you are that you get to be with them for the day or for the year. I think you must make them feel welcome. I think they must see that you have joy, knowing that you want to be with them. I think that they need to know where you stand. I mean, my rules are too. I mean, be nice to each other, because you don't like it when people are mean to you. And I will call you on it if I see you, whether it's roaming eyeballs or mouthing something across the room or poking somebody with a pen. You have to know that for 44 minutes, everybody deserves the same time to come in here and feel like they are welcome and they don't have to have their guard up. And I think once you can establish that, and they know that you'll call somebody on it that'll challenge that within the first week or two, I think after that, they all respond really well. They know they want to come there.
Feel safe.
They feel safe, and you're going to get way more out of them. And I think you just have to have, skills are important, I get that, but if you don't have a relationship with them, they won't do anything for you, because We all like to please people that we know care about us.
Yeah.
How do you go about motivating an unmotivated student?
But yeah, if you can discipline with a smile or kind of joke with the kid, like, don't you dare take out that worksheet and answer those questions. You know, if you can kind of jive with them a little, or sometimes you got to get down and say, you know what, are you just having a bad day? Should we just start over tomorrow? I'm just going to let you put your head down. And sometimes just that loving concern. It's different for each kid, whether you're going to joke, whether you're going to be gentle, whether you're going to make them come in during their study time, whether you're going to have them get on phone and call mom or dad. You know, it just...
A very angry child will push back. I'm not, and you can't. Oh, gosh, I hope you don't make this bad choice because you know that you can't win on this one. You know I can't explain how what you're doing here is fair to everybody else in here, and now you have to leave and you need to go downstairs to the office or we need to call home. But you always tell a kid, even if you have to go find them in their last hour class, how are we doing? Can we talk tomorrow? I just need you to know that tomorrow's a new day. They need to know that in middle school. They just, you'll find out what works for you.
Yeah.
Once you get in your room and you have your own class and your own way of doing things and management styles, it'll just click. It'll get easier each year.
You'll figure out their game. Like every kid has their own game, and you'll figure out how to play it.
Yeah. But as long as they know you love them.
Mm-hmm.